A very good evening. Welcome to Championship Playoffs live here on LFS this evening on this Thursday night as we watch two championship sides battle it out to try and get a place in the Premier League next season. 19 of the 20 places for next season's Premier League are decided after Leeds and Burnley both were automatically promoted. Leeds, of course, as champions after receiving 100 points each. The first time two teams in a single EFL season have got 100 plus points and both been promoted. Incredible from Leeds and Burnley, and their performances quite remarkably rewarded. But tonight we watch a Bristol City side who've been slowly creeping their way up towards playoffs over the last number of years, with consistent finishes further up the table, 17th, 14th, then 11th in the last three seasons. But this season they finished 6th, and now playoffs are on the cards. And they take on a Sheffield United side who were in the title race with only a number of weeks to go, but a run of poor form towards the final couple of weeks of the season had them falling away from the top two, and Leeds and Burnley's consistency was too much for the Blades. But it's playoffs that's been confirmed for a number of weeks now, and the first leg of their semi-final is here at Ashton Gate. It is Bristol City against Sheffield United tonight. Then tomorrow night we watch Coventry under Frank Lampard take on Sunderland, who've lost 5 in a row. What will we see from those two? That's tomorrow. This is what way the Championship Playoffs looks then. The semi-final first legs are tonight and tomorrow night. Then the second legs of the semi-finals and the return legs, of course, Monday and Tuesday night. And then Saturday, the 24th of May, is the big day in the calendar. For one of these four teams, it will be the day they will be promoted to the Premier League. Will it be Sheffield United, who've been there very recently? But will it be a side who hasn't been there in such a long time? Sunderland, Coventry or Bristol City? We will see. We're hoping for an absolute miracle of a scenario and a great playoffs season, and we might just get that as well for you. Just a quick promo before we get underway that I have, myself, I'm doing a bit of self-promotion here. I've started a job as a journalist on Red Rondo, the new independent Liverpool content channel and website at redrondo.tv, at Redrondo TV, and you can join us over there. I'll be doing bits and pieces about Liverpool over there, so if you want to go and join that and get some new independent Liverpool content that is top of the range and very much a lot of the team getting it put in place for next season. If you want to join us over there, we're ready. Put some stuff up on socials at Red Rondo TV. Right, okay, let's get ready then for this one tonight. Kickoff 8 o'clock this evening, and we are looking for a big one. Bristol City against Sheffield United. Two sides hoping for Premier League places. Bristol City, a side who probably weren't at the start of the season one of the favourites to be involved in its playoffs, but their performances this season have been well deserving of a top 6 finish, and Sheffield United would have been one of those top favourites, maybe even to go up automatically. But it's playoffs, the heartbreaking way, and sometimes it could be the most rewarding way to be promoted at times, receiving a trophy. Let's have a look at how these two teams have fared as of recently. A quick game focus before we get underway this evening. Bristol City have failed to beat Sheffield United in any of their last 7 meetings, dating back to March 2019 when they won 3-2 in that narrow game. Sheffield United have won on 3 of their last 5 visits to Ashton Gate, including their last 2 trips, where Bristol City were sent down to 10 men on their last 2 visits here. The Blades, Bristol City's last home win against Sheffield United was a 1-0 win in September 2018 when Marley Watkins scored the winner in the 81st minute of that one. And Bristol City unbeaten in the last 8 home league games since the 1-0 defeat to Swansea in February. And Sheffield United have lost 3 of their last 4 away league games. Digesting all of that, it means a result can happen any which way. And that's what makes the playoffs so exciting. It can be as tight as anything, or one team can run away with it. But we don't know, and that's what makes it so exciting. We'll certainly know within the next 5 days who will be heading to Wembley, who will be getting their big day out, and which teams will be vying for that place in the Premier League. Come Tuesday night, we'll know the outcome. But tonight, it's all about trying to get off to a great start in the playoffs and give yourself some sort of boost heading to the return leg. Of course, Bristol City, the home side tonight, so they'll be hoping for a very positive result. If not a win, certainly a draw would be enough, or at least keep themselves in the tie, heading to, of course, Bramall Lane on Monday evening. But let's get to the action. It's Bristol City against Sheffield United in the 24-25 Championship Playoff Semi-Final first leg. And kick-off at Ashton Gate is on the way next. Team news as well. Welcome back to Championship Playoffs Live. Here are the teams for tonight's game in this playoff semi-final first leg at Ashton Gate. And we start with the home side, Bristol City. Max O'Leary starts in goal. A back three of Yu Hirakawa, George Tanner, Rob Dickey, Zach Viner and Ross McCrory in the back five. A midfield of Jason Knight, the captain, and Joe Williams in the midfield too, with a front three, or a 2 and a 1, of Max Bird, Anas Mehmeti, and leading the line, Naki Wells. On the bench for the home side, Bayech, Roberts, Pring, Earthy, McGuane, Twine, Armstrong, Bell, and Cornick. For the Blades, we don't know whether they're playing a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1, but whatever they're playing, they will have the same, obviously, personnel, starting with the keeper is Michael Cooper, Hamza Chowdhury, Jack Robinson the captain, Anel Ahmedodzic and Harrison Burrows in a back four. In midfield is Sidney Peck alongside Vinicius Sousa, who is the captain, who is the vice captain tonight. He was holding the captain's armband earlier this season, and Ryan Brewster further forward alongside Gus Hammer in that wide positions, with a front two, it seems, of Tyrese Campbell and Kiefer Moore. On the bench for the Blades, Davies, Gilchrist, Shackleton, Holding, McCallum, O'Hare, Davies, Brooks and Cannon. It is the first leg, so it's not do or die tonight, but you certainly want to get off to a good start. Kick-off at Ashton Gate is next. A very good evening. Welcome in to this one this Thursday evening here on LFS as the championship season comes to its finale. This is the part of the season we all love and all wait for. The next 4 games over the next 5 nights will decide who will be heading to Wembley, who will be having that chance of being a Premier League side next season. All the 46 games of hard work and fight come down to the next 2 nights of action for these two and the other two, and then it will lead, hopefully, for those to a big day at Wembley. That's what they're hoping and dreaming of. And tonight, it's all about getting off to a good start. Bristol City in their home strip of red shirts, white shorts, and Sheffield United in their away strip this evening of that pale white or pale beige shirt and white shorts with red trimmings. Ashton Gate, the scene of our action this Thursday evening as Sheffield United get us underway. 3rd against 6th, of course, and 4th against 5th tomorrow night. But this is the one, whereas Daniel in the chat says Bristol City have seemingly gone under the radar in a sense this season. They weren't one of the pip favourites at the start of the campaign to be in this battle, but they fought their way to it, and they just want to find a way to the promised land where Leeds and Burnley have already booked their tickets for August, off to the Premier League. Up in the Heidi Heights here at Ashton Gate, this massive stand. We're right in the gods with that camera angle as Hamza Chowdhury was caught there by Ross McCrory, and we'll get a early free kick for Sheffield United. Well, of course, I did say before the game about Chris Wilder's side. They haven't been great away from home as of recently. 3 defeats in the last 4 on the road. They did, of course, win on the second to final day of the season in that away game against Stoke. They lost 3 in a row on the road with Oxford, Plymouth and Burnley. And that Burnley defeat ultimately sealed their place in the playoffs, of course, for Sheffield United, as Hammer had his run cut by the defender. And there by Tanner, and it will be an early corner for Sheffield United down this left side. A reminder for you, we'll also keep an eye on the Europa League and Europa Conference League action for you this evening. We'll have a look at that as well and keep you right up to date with that action, as Gus Hammer is making sure the ball is in the quadrant. The referee, the crowd aren't particularly convinced, but nor would they be. Hammer, right-footed delivery, punched away by the keeper, by O'Leary. Sheffield United trying to retrieve it as Chowdhury switches out to Hammer, flicks it on, but the offside flag has gone up against Gus Hammer there on the left-hand side, and that'll be a free kick to Bristol City. Well, of course, I watched Bristol City in the Easter fixtures, or actually no, the week after the Easter fixtures, sorry. The second to last game of the season, away at Leeds, and of course that wasn't a reasonable look at Bristol City, I've got to say. A Leeds side that knew a win was a massive deal for them in trying to win the championship, and that is how it turned out to be. And they were absolutely dominant against Bristol City. They just couldn't get out against Leeds that night. There's a tussle, trying to find a way through Sheffield United there, but Naki Wells was well closed out by Souza. Now Hammer trying to get the counter-attack for Sheffield United going. Here's Tyrese Campbell. Campbell looking to whip it across towards Kiefer Moore, who's had his opportunity blocked and put behind for another Sheffield United corner. This time it was Viner that got across and got it. Lovely little ball from Hammer out wide to Tyrese Campbell. Went for the early cross, trying to find the runner in his opposite centre forward. Will be a corner to Sheffield United on this left-hand side again. Very positive start for the visitors, who, as I said, haven't been on their best form away from home. Let's see what Gus Hammer can do from this set piece. Right-footed delivery again, behind the back post. Kiefer Moore's header back across. It's cleared away. Not fully cleared, as now it was in that time by Knight. Again, Bristol City can't keep the possession. Sheffield United have it at the back with Hamza Chowdhury. As I was mentioning then about the Europa League and the Conference League games, Tottenham 3-1 up from their first leg against Bodo Glimt. Man United 3-0 up against Athletic Club from their first leg. Chelsea taking on the Swedish side, Der Jargens. They are 4-1 up from the first leg, and Fiorentina and Real Betis, Betis 2-1 up from their first leg. So we'll keep you right up to date with those games throughout the night too. Of course, this will confirm the Europa League and Conference League finals for you tonight, and we'll have confirmation of those a little later on. That's a nice gather by Williams, trying to flick it over the top for Mehmeti. Just a little bit too much on the ball. Will be guided back to Michael Cooper, who can comfortably have hold of the ball here for Sheffield United. Cooper goes long, trying to find the head of Kiefer Moore. And it was a little bit of a collision there down that side with McCrory and Kiefer Moore, which has McCrory in a bit of pain. The referee has to check upon his well-being. Our referee tonight is Ollie Langford. His 276th championship game as a referee tonight for Ollie Langford. And as the referee for a pretty important game a few weeks ago for Bristol City, that 2-1 win over Sunderland here The man was in charge. Ollie Langford, one of the top referees in the Championship. He also refereed Sheffield United's 3-1 win against Coventry in late March, so has been involved in a couple of the big tussles this season between the top sides, certainly the promotion competing sides. Ross McCrory just getting a full check up there by the physios, and there's now blood coming from his nose, which is what the worry is here. So we do have this stoppage in the first couple of minutes here at Ashton Gate. Just keeping an eye on action elsewhere at the moment. Ross McCrory is going to now be helped back to his feet after receiving some treatment. As there's the Bristol City owner, Steve Lansdowne. What a season it would be if Bristol City do find themselves in the Premier League. Quite incredible for Bristol City, who really aren't a club that know what that really means, of course. Haven't been in the playoffs in 17 years. When they got to the playoff final, were beaten by Hull in 2008. But, you know, a club like Bristol City, no disrespect to the club, but as I say, they weren't the Pip favourites. They weren't up there in terms of the battlers predicted earlier this season. There were clubs that were above them, and quite a number of clubs that were above them in terms of the race for the playoffs. But of course, what a great job they've done this season. And Liam Manning, what a great job he's done. You know, what a tough season it's been for him personally. Of course, for Liam Manning. But the way they've been able to just come through with it and battle together as a collective is just really inspiring and really kind of inspirational in that sense. How tough it is, and you know how physically and mentally tough the Championship can be, how competitive it is, and the job that they've done this season, Bristol City, is quite phenomenal. Here is Hirakawa down the right hand side, having a little bit of possession for Bristol City. Trying to find the through ball there was Williams. Trying to find Naki Wells on the run in behind, but well cut out. Kept alive though by Tanner. It's a little bit better from Bristol City. Trying to get a decent bit of possession. Lovely ball wide to McCrory, who is okay to continue. McCrory on the run in behind. He's beaten past his man in Ryan Brewster. McCrory trying to get the ball across. Well cleared away by Jack Robinson. And then brought down by Zach Viner, who tried to keep it in, but heads it out for a Sheffield United throw. And Hamza Chowdhury will take this throw in for Sheffield United. Long throw here for Sheffield United into the box. Flicked on, and Campbell, it's gone over the line, and he finds the back of the net. That's a perfect start for Sheffield United, and it's Tyrese Campbell. But although the ball's gone over the line, they waited a while there, the officials. No goal. The fourth official's now explaining the decision to Chris Wilder. The Sheffield United bench are really not happy. Whether there was an offside in there or a foul, I'm not too sure, but Tyrese Campbell thought he'd given Sheffield United the lead. So the long throw into the box. It's flicked on. Campbell gets it. City Peck got the final touch. We'll see it again. It's Campbell across. Is Peck offside? Ooh. I think City Peck is in an offside position, therefore impacting the Bristol City defender to clear the ball. And therefore that's why they've called it for offside. So City Peck in an offside position denied the Bristol City defender in clearing the ball off the line, therefore impacting play and making sure that Sheffield United can't get the goal. That's a very tough decision, but I think they got it correct there, the officials. That's a very complicated decision, but a very complicated situation. But it was... They took their time, and they, I think, in my opinion, have come to the correct decision. And in the interest of Sheffield United, I'm sure they're not particularly happy, but they will certainly go and believe that they can certainly find the back of the net, of course. There's evidence that they can, just as long as they keep themselves onside. Here's Kiefer Moore, can't force the ball through. Past Viner there. Goes for another throw into Sheffield United. That's still goalless elsewhere in all those other 4 games across Europe this evening in the Europa League and the Conference League semi-final second legs. At the moment, if it stays as it is, we will have 4 definitive winners, so there is leads from the first legs, but I doubt all 4 will end 0-0 tonight, so we'll keep you up to date with all of those right the way throughout this evening here on LFS. But of course, Bristol City, Sheffield United, our key focus. Great to have you with us this evening for this one. We thank you all for joining us. As there was a little push in the back of Josh Williams there. Or Joe Williams, apologies. And that gets a free kick to Bristol City. We'll see this moment again. So what happens is Tyrese Campbell heads the ball across goal. The keeper's nowhere to be seen. Max O'Leary's gone. He's out of the game. He tried to reach for it, missed it. But what City Peck does is he goes in front of the number 17 there for Bristol City. Or is it number 11? Might have been Mehmeti. But what he does is he blocks the defender away from getting to the ball, and City Peck sees it over the line. But he's in an offside position from Tyrese Campbell's header, so therefore he cannot impact play. And it was deemed that he did impact play in seeing that ball over the line and not allowing the Bristol City player to clear it away. Therefore, it was not a goal. And again, as I say, very complicated issue, but fantastically well dealt with by Sheffield United, or by the officials. But again, not to the like of Chris Wilder and his team. As here comes down the left-hand side Mehmeti, trying to dribble into the box. Anas Mehmeti gets it back across. Falls sweetly, the strike of the crossbar. McCrory tried to hit it, gets another chance. Can't get the shot off. And Sheffield United scramble it away. Well, this was a rocket of an effort. See this, lovely from Mehmeti, gets it across. And the shot, striding onto it beautifully, was Joe Williams. And a sweeping right footer. Irwin towards the top corner. And it comes crashing off the crossbar. Well, that's a moment for Bristol City. A massive moment. And that's got the crowd going inside Ashton Gate. That was some effort by the Bristol City midfielder. Maybe the momentum might swing their way. The disallowed goal hitting the woodwork, seeming the home side are maybe getting a touch of luck at the moment. Probably deserved luck in these early moments. Here's Tanner. To turn it back to Rob Dickey. Inside to Knight. He finds it out wide to McCrory. Back inside to Knight. Bodies in and around the box for Bristol City. Given the space to turn was Mehmeti. Helped out well by Naki Wells, who overhit the ball back wide to Ross McCrory. And that goes out of play for a throw into Sheffield United. Well, I gotta say, the officials, to be fair, they keep showing the replay at the moment. I think, or it was actually Jason Knight that was the last man there for Bristol City. And Knight knew it right away. Bristol City captain was certain right away there was an offside in the build-up there, and he was completely correct. As that ball fed into the channel. One for Tyrese Campbell to chase. Dribbling into the box. Campbell squares it back across. Not given the time, but Tanner couldn't get it away. Had the ball stolen away from him by Gus Harmer, who hits one, and the deflection takes it behind for the corner. It actually doesn't come off Kiefer Moore. There was an offside anyway. Yeah, it might come off Kiefer Moore, and he was offside in the process. Yeah, goal kick anyway, but he was offside. So free kick to Bristol City. Now a bit of a chaotic start here. But a start the home side will be pretty happy with. 70% of the possession, 2 shots. The XG is in Bristol City's favour, but narrowly. There's minimal shots and chances in that favour. But Sheffield United more corners, but that's just it. Haven't had a registered shot yet, Sheffield United. So fairly positive. 17.5 minutes we've witnessed so far for the home side. And as I say, look, neither side really need to do the do-or-die kind of speech and performance tonight, but what they need to do is both sides need to keep themselves in the tie for their own kind of preferences and their own kind of hopes for going to Wembley. Whatever happens tonight for Sheffield United, whether it being the away side, they want to keep themselves in it for the second leg. Bristol City maybe seeing themselves as a little bit of underdogs coming into this one with Sheffield United's season and the expectations for Sheffield United. They'll want to keep themselves in the tie as well. Try and give themselves an advantage to take to Bramall Lane in 4 days' time. Robinson's clearance nicely mopped up by Tanner and Viner. And in the end, Joe Williams' ball deflected off a Sheffield United player. Won't be a Bristol City throw on the right side here. Well, of course, these two have met twice this season in the Championship. Very narrow games in both affairs. As here's Ross McCrory down the left-hand side here. Rolls it in behind, trying to find Mehmeti. Mehmeti was challenged there by Anel Ahmedhodzic. And Mehmeti has actually been penalised for a foul he was supposed to have committed. I think that... See it again. Oh, well, just seeing that goal again. I don't know why they keep showing it. In my opinion, it's pretty clear. It's offside. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. It was probably about 10-15 seconds. About 10 seconds, definitely. Between the ball finding the back of the net and the offside flag and... Or the offside flag going up from the assistant. The referee saying no goal. I'm sure it would have felt like an age. A monumentous amount of time. 20 minutes gone. Bristol City 0, Sheffield United 0. In this semi-final first leg of the Championship Playoffs. Harmer trying to battle with his opposite number Williams, but the home side coming out the better on that occasion and getting a throw in their own half. Well, one thing about Sheffield United this season, no discredit to them, they might have had a poor run away from home in the recent weeks, and maybe that's took the kind of shine off what has been an incredible season for them. 90 points. They had a 2-point deduction, if we remember, at the start of the season. So, on merit, 92 points from their points tally, obviously, from their results. And then the 2-point deduction brought it down to 90, but that's still a remarkable amount of points. And they join Leeds. Of course, last season, Leeds finished on 90 points and didn't get promoted. It's the exact same for Sheffield United. They are the second side, only the second side ever in Championship history to get 90 or more points and not finish in the top 2 in the Championship. And Burnley are the only side ever to receive 100 points and not win the Championship. So it's a season of high performance and such fine margins, as that's a nice move down the right side here for Bristol City. It's Hirakawa trying to find a man, and his cross was blocked off well at the near side, but Yu Hirakawa gets the corner for Bristol City. Let's see. First corner of the night for Bristol City. What can this set piece offer? Keep an eye on their captain. He might be the one to step up. They've gone short from the corner. There's space here to shoot. And the shot took a deflection. It will be another corner. It was Anis Mehmeti that had the shot from the edge of the box. Took a deflection of a Sheffield United defender. Another Bristol City corner. This is the end that both sets of fans reside, half and half. This stand to the left-hand side of us, or the left hand of the camera position. Long cross in there. McCrory was closest, but it's cleared away for Sheffield United. Fed back into the box by Tanner. And the block there defensively. Pass Viner, sees it out for a goal kick. Just some positive signs there for Bristol City. They've certainly, I say, out of the two sides, started the better of the two teams and looked the more likely, obviously despite Sheffield United actually finding the back of the net that was disallowed. But overall, I'd say Bristol City looked the more comfortable of the two teams at the moment. Certainly more comfortable with the possession than Sheffield United. Williams, not the best of balls. Had to go back with Tanner, who's back with O'Leary. And now out wide to George Tanner again. Linking up with Bird, who tried to find it on to Yu. But in the end, it goes out for a throw to the away side. Welcome in ZM7 again. Great to have you with us for this one. There down the right, the left side there. United, Kiefer Moore shielding that one out for a throw. Zenim7 says, I think 0-0. Fingers crossed it's not 0-0. I mean, it will give us a finely poised second leg on Monday night, but I think we would like to see some goals tonight. And City Peck there tried a little bit of skill. That one was a little bit heavy that time. Throw into Bristol City. Long throw down the right side by Tanner. Headed back down by Vinicius Souza. Nicely held up by Tyrese Campbell. Here's Ryan Brewster. Brought down by Mehmeti. No foul. As they come away with it now. McCrory tried to find you, but well cut out. As Gus Hammer feeds it back wide to Ryan Brewster. Had the shot well blocked. Tried to slide for it. Lost it again, and Hamza Chowdhury couldn't retrieve it either. Just looks like Bristol City are under a little bit more control. Sheffield United a little bit more frantic. Look at that lovely little combination between McCrory and Knight there. And Viner going forward. Linking up with Naki Wells. Nicely challenged by Mehmeti. They've done well there, Bristol City. And the referee was going to play advantage, but he's going to pull it back for a Bristol City free kick in the wide area here. As Naki Wells held that ball up and was fouled in the process. And maybe 2-3 Sheffield United on aggregate. Well, Sheffield United would be the favourites coming into this one, but favourites mean nothing in the Championship. Anybody can beat anybody on their day. That's why it's so entertaining, so intriguing, so fascinating to watch. And with the damage, it's not often. It seems to be the common theme that the team finishing third never ever finds a way up. It's very rare that third place that finishes third, the team that finishes third after 46 games, that are usually obviously the favourites going into the playoffs. It's very rare that they are ever promoted to the Premier League, of course via the playoffs, so that might be something that will hang over Sheffield United, and they have their own playoff kind of pains of past. And actually Bristol City are in that story of pain of Sheffield United's playoff history. Mehmeti trying the ball over the top to Naki Wells. He was chasing, but Hamza Chowdhury battling and won the ball out of Ross McCrory. Gets the throw in. On their most recent trip to the playoffs, Sheffield United, of course, was in the 21-22 season when they faced Nottingham Forest in the playoffs, of course. They won 2-1. In the first leg. Oh, hold on. Here's Tyrese Campbell in behind. Hits it straight at O'Leary, who kicks it away. Kept alive by Hammer. Peck now. City Peck. Deflection. And O'Leary punches it over the top. Well, that was a little glimpse from Sheffield United there. A breakaway down the right-hand side here. Lovely ball by Ryan Brewster. Fed in behind by to Tyrese Campbell, who timed his run to perfection. Took it down, had the shot straight at Max O'Leary. He kicks it away, O'Leary, in blocking it. And then City Peck's effort took a deflection from the rebound. And it goes over the top for a corner. But fine margins there. Sheffield United were ever so close there. Right-footed corner delivery by Hammer. Headed back across goal. Here's Brewster. Laid it off to Burrows. Burrows trying to lift it. Gus Hammer with a strike. Well blocked. And it's you trying to come away with the ball. But a bit of a slip there from the Sheffield United player. Puts it out for a Bristol City throw. See that again. Well held up by Brewster. Burrows to whip it back around. It's Hammer on the far side. Hit with the right foot. And in the end it was cleared away and dealt with by Bristol City. But another little moment for Sheffield United there. Despite Bristol City more possession, Sheffield United have had the shots on target. After that good start for Bristol City, it's just Sheffield United in the last minute or two had one or two good opportunities. Well, their teacher retired and he loved Inter Milan, so we made like a big poster say Inter are going to win the finals and give him an Inter Milan 89-90 because he was born then. Oh, lovely. Love that. McCrory down the left side to Mehmeti. Back to Jason Knight. Inside to Williams. And a combine there with Bird. Bird with a little bit short of a pass, but it's kept alive with Rob Dickey stepping in. Knight. Williams was down there for a second. He's up and okay. McCrory back to Knight. McCrory again. Trying to garner a little bit of rhythm, Bristol City, down this left side. No worries, I understood what you meant. Ball over the top there for the chasing Knocky Wells, who does keep it in play quite fantastically there. Bird back to Wells, who rolls it in behind for Max Bird. Gets it across. It's headed away, not very far by Harrison Burrows. Here's you. Williams. Tanner, back to you. Now Tanner again. Nice combination from Bristol City. Able to sustain the ball in the higher areas. We have a goal to tell you about in 2 of our European games tonight. And a big goal at Old Trafford to tell you about. Manchester United 3-0 up from the first leg against Athletic Club. But Athletic Club have taken the lead on the night. Mikel Urigizar, I don't know how badly I've pronounced that, but I've certainly not pronounced it right. He's given Athletic Club the lead. So Athletic Club 1-0 up at Old Trafford. But remember, it's 3-1 to Man United on aggregate. Athletic Club need to win by 3 clear goals tonight to take it to extra time. It is a hell of a mountain to climb. Here comes Ryan Brewster for Sheffield United, and Kiefer Moore with a square ball. Couldn't get any power behind it. And it P-rollers its way towards Max O'Leary. Lovely ball by Gus Hammer. The space down the right side here for Ryan Brewster. And then he just tries to square it across to Kiefer Moore, who was stretching. And he just couldn't get the power behind it there. The Blades number 9. And it was just right into the hands of Max O'Leary. Fiorentina are also behind at home against Real Betis. So Betis had a 2-1 lead from the first leg. Betis have taken the lead on the night, which now gives them a 2-goal lead on aggregate. And it's the man who used to play for Man United, who's on loan at Real Betis, Anthony. He's having a great spell at Real Betis, is Anthony. And at the moment, he's given Real Betis the lead there. And that's 3-1 to Betis in that tie. Still goalless in the other games. Bodo Glimt 0, Tottenham 0, Chelsea 0, and Djurgården 0 as well. Spurs and Chelsea quite far ahead. As, Joe Williams was down there for a moment, receiving treatment for Bristol City, which had the stoppage here. And they're readying a substitution here, Bristol City. It's going to be George Earthy. But I don't think Joe Williams is going to be giving up that easily. I think he's going to try and stay on, it seems. Or unless they are going to make that change. Liam Manning is just keeping an eye on his player as he's on the sidelines here. And I think Joe Williams is going to return to the play very shortly. Well, Clásico is going to be fascinating at the weekends. Will be a title decider if Barca win it. Surely they win, they'll be cruising to the title. But if Real Madrid win it, anything's possible. We have a busy Sunday on our hands here in LFS on Sunday. A triple header for you. 3 games to get your teeth into. Ooh, Zach Viner there. Played the ball right across his defence to George Tanner. That was a little bit of a risky one. Worked out, but could have been risky. O'Leary tried the ball over the top. Didn't quite reach Knocky Wells. And City Peck tries to reverse it round the corner, but easily won by George Tanner again. And Bristol City, who, as I say, they've beaten the better side, I'd say, in the first half so far. Have Bristol City. They haven't had ultimate amount of shooting opportunities, but what they have been is more than competitive with Sheffield United. Have had a little glimpse or two. Joe Williams hitting the crossbar, of course, is probably their best moment so far. Fiorentina have equalised now against Betis in that game. Robin Goossens has got the equaliser, so it's 1-1 on the night, 3-2 to Betis on aggregate. In that one, tasty affair. Throw into Bristol City down the right side. Less than 10 minutes to go with the first half here at Ashton Gate. Bristol City 0, Sheffield United 0. No goals, although Sheffield United certainly had the ball in the back of the net. And an offside against City Peck. Deemed to have been impacting the game whilst in an offside position, therefore the goal was disallowed. As I was saying before about Sheffield United in the playoffs, of course they do have a wicked history in the playoffs. Very, very wicked for Sheffield United. And I will get to that in a moment. Because Sheffield United have been in 5 since the 1990s. They've been in 5 championship playoffs. Their most recent one, of course, 21-22, when they lost to Nottingham Forest in the semi-finals. They have been to the final 3 times in the last 5, Sheffield United, and they've lost all 3 occasions in the final against Crystal Palace, Wolves and Burnley. As Sheffield United come forward here. Campbell with a delivery, cleared away. Nicely held up by Naki Wells, as there's going to be a stoppage here, because there's a player down, and it's Joe Williams again. And he was apparently holding his head, so he's getting more treatment. He's already had treatment moments ago, Joe Williams, and decided to stay on. I don't think he's going to be staying on now. And George Earthy is going to be coming onto the field here for Bristol City. So he wanted to continue, Joe Williams, 2 or 3 minutes ago. He's been allowed to continue, and now he will have the end to his night. In a bad end to his night, as the referee having to deal with a few Sheffield United players disputing the stoppage, I think. Whatever they're disputing, I don't know, but certainly not happy with the referee for some reason. Well, Joe Williams, who hit the crossbar for Bristol City in this first half, G's the crowd up, gestures to the crowd inside Ashton Gate to support their team, as he probably, by his reaction, might not be involved any further. Not just tonight, but maybe he'll not be involved for the remainder of the playoffs for Bristol City. I think that's what that is hinting at. And George Earthy's going to be coming on in his place for Bristol City. And he's gone straight down the tunnel, Joe Williams, which is not a good sign for him. But a chance for George Earthy here this evening for Bristol City, the 20-year-old. Obviously was in the West Ham youth side. Actually played a couple of minutes for West Ham in the Premier League last season. Scored a goal for West Ham in the Premier League last season. He would love to help his new side to try and get there. Scored against Luton for West Ham in a 3-1 win at the London Stadium last May. Actually almost a year to the day that he did that, 11th of May 2024. Knight. Across to Dickey. Out wide to you. Inside it comes to Bird. Bird gives it out wide to McCrory. McCrory going for the deep cross. Brought down at the back post by Earthy, but a heavy first touch. Sees it out for a goal kick to Sheffield United. Yeah, it's a good move. A lot of Bristol City's attacks have come down that left-hand side. McCrory's been the main out, the threat down that side for Bristol City. Ball forward by Cooper. Sheffield United just haven't had rhythm, in a sense. They've relied upon individual moments, but they haven't at any point in this first half, I think, had consistent or sustained possession at any stage of this first half, Sheffield United. That's why I feel Bristol City just seemed a little bit more under control. Sheffield United seem a little bit more frantic in their moments, as Jack Robinson's going to try this famous long throw once again. The previous one ended up, the ball was in the back of the net, but disallowed. Let's see what this one turns out to be. Robinson, the flick on, is caught by Max O'Leary. Yeah, it was a nice long throw by Jack Robinson. Again, they get the first contact, Sheffield United, but the flick on header by the midfielder there was just caught by Max O'Leary in the Bristol City goal. A couple of goals to tell you about. Actually, one more goal to tell you about. Chelsea have taken the lead on the night in their Conference League semi-final second leg against the Swedish side Djurgården. Kieran Dewsbury Hall has given Chelsea the lead. They're leading by 5-1. I think after the first leg we expected Chelsea were heading to the Conference League final, and as it stands, that is very much the case. Who they will face is still a little bit under the inspection, shall we say, at this stage, as Mehmeti tried to break free. Lovely held up by Max Bird. McCrory across again. Cleared away by Ahmed Odzic. Kept alive down this left side by Bristol City. They've certainly had a little bit of a resurgence in the last 5 minutes of this half. McCrory couldn't quite squeeze it through to Mehmeti, but Mehmeti battling back, trying to win it back, but Sheffield United just hold on to it for now. Souza was brought down as he tried to break away, and that's going to get a free kick to Sheffield United. And George Earthy defending himself, claiming innocence, but slight clip on Vinicius Souza there. It is a free kick. We've another goal in Florence this evening between Fiorentina and Real Betis. It was Betis that took the lead on the night, but they've conceded again. It is 2-1 to Fiorentina. Robin Gosens again. Now, Fiorentina leading by 2-1 means it's 3-3 on aggregate. And it's very much game on in Florence there for that other place in the Conference League final. Who will Chelsea be facing? At the moment, we're no closer to finding out. Very entertaining game there in Italy. As Ahmed Odzic was held there by Naki Wells. It's definitely a foul. Yeah, he was just dragged and then pushed away from the ball. And it was definitely a foul. As we'll have 5 added minutes at the end of the first half here. And a couple of injury issues. And of course a disallowed goal, all racking up. 5 added minutes then. I remember I did the semi-finals of the playoffs last year. I think we got back-to-back 0-0 draws in the first legs, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I'll have to check that up, but I think I remember correctly. McCrory, under pressure, has to go back to Viner, who feeds it down the line. Bouncing ball brought down by Mehmeti, who felt he was caught, but the referee said it was a fair challenge by Ryan Brewster. And And Sheffield United back in possession. Nice combination play there. City Peck trying to intervene. And it was all the way back to Max O'Leary. Again, Bristol City don't hold the ball well there. Give it away a little bit cheaply. Flick on there. Vinicius Souza running behind. Here for Kiefer Moore. He was dragged down. Is that a penalty? It is. And it's going to be a red card for Rob Dickie, I think. It's a penalty to Sheffield United. A red card for Bristol City's defence. And that is one massive swing of the pendulum in Sheffield United's favour. Ollie Langford being surrounded by the Bristol City players, the referee. Let's see it again. Ball over the top by Vinicius Souza. Yeah. I mean, Kiefer Moore there gets in front of Dickie. Dickie gets around him and pulls him back. I get he's trying to get to the ball, but I could dispute the red card, but it's definitely a penalty. And Rob Dickie has been shown a red and sent away here. So the first half that was going pretty well for Bristol City might have all come crashing down in the dying embers, and probably their most physical defender commits a physical challenge in the box. And now it's a Sheffield United penalty. And it's going to be the shot that finds the back of the net. And it's Harrison Burrows that gives Sheffield United the lead from the penalty spot. They took it quickly. They didn't wait around. And it's now Sheffield United 1-0 to the good and have an extra man advantage. As I say, the pendulum has massively swung in Sheffield United's favour in the away leg of this semi-final. It's Bristol City who are down to 10, and Sheffield United, the away side, leading by 1-0. And Harrison Burrows from the penalty spots gives them that lead. I mean, look at it again. I do say I would probably have to dispute the red card decision by the referee and probably say a yellow card would have been fair. But that is what the referee decided. And that confirmation of that red card for Robert Dickie. Down to 10 and a goal down as well for Liam Manning's side. If they're going to show their character and fight back, they're going to have one hell of a tough job on their hands, not only in the second half, but in the second leg if this first leg doesn't go well. Earthy laying it on to Naki Wells. Bird. Earthy. Tanner. Now back to the right hand side. Well cut out from Jason Knight, but well won back for Bristol City there in the midfield by Bird there. Last couple of seconds of the first half here. And I mean, this place was bouncing before. It certainly isn't now. It most certainly isn't now. What a difference a matter of seconds can make from Bristol City's point of view. A moment of madness that might just turn their hopes of Premier League promotion and playoff success into a little bit of dismal defeat. And a little bit dimmer, that light that has been shining in them all season. They're not beaten yet. You would have to say that is a massive moment in this tie. Not only a penalty conceded, but a red card that will make this job even tougher than it was before. And the referee is playing on to his discretion, of course. Obviously, with the red card and penalty decision, there was a little stoppage. McCrory, Bird. They've held a lot of possession since going down, though. Bristol City maybe trying to give themselves a quick response. Bird. And there's the half-time whistle. Boos around Ashton Gate. I'm not thinking that's for the players. I think that might be for the officials. Well, it was a pretty dramatic first half, really. Sheffield United had a goal disallowed for an offside early in the half. But the way the half ends is advantage Sheffield United. A penalty converted by Harrison Burrows and a red card for Rob Dickie for a last man challenge. Means Bristol City are not only a man down, but a goal down at half-time. Bristol City 0, Sheffield United 1. Bristol City down to 10. And we'll analyse that first half when we come back. Welcome back to Championship Playoffs Live. Half-time at Ashton Gate. It is Bristol City 0. Sheffield United 1 at the break. Bristol City down to 10 as well. Rob Dickie shown a red card in process of that challenge that was committed on Kiefer Moore that led to the penalty also. So a double blow for Bristol City just before half-time. A professional last-man foul by Rob Dickie is the reason for his red card. And then Harrison Burrows converting the resulting penalty, which has Sheffield United leading. Of course, that's not the only drama of the first half. Of course, a chance that was headed in by Tyrese Campbell, but guided its way towards the box in the end by the Sheffield United player, who was in an offside position, and therefore the goal was disallowed. So they had also a goal disallowed, Sheffield United, in the first half. But it is one of those where I'd say Bristol City were the side that looked more in control. But again, as I said, it was individual quality that was getting Sheffield United up the field, getting them into good areas, and getting them within chances of getting good goal-scoring opportunities. And we see the opportunity again. It's a flick on by Tyrese Campbell over the top, and Kiefer Moore makes the run in behind through the two centre-backs, two of the centre-backs of Bristol City, and it's Dickie that gets his arms around Kiefer Moore, and he kind of doesn't pull him back, but kind of hangs over the top of him and kind of pulls his arms back a little bit, and Kiefer Moore brought down. And yeah, it was a clear penalty. Whether or not I thought it was a red card is up for question. Initially, it looked like, right, fine, it's probably a red card. But when I see it again, I think Rob Dickie makes a genuine attempt to get the ball. And in that circumstance, it should be a yellow card, not a red card. So I think it's a little bit extra harsh from the referee, Ollie Langford, to say red. But it is definitely a yellow, in my opinion, for that sort of situation. And Ollie Langford shows a red. But he did say, it looked like Rob Dickie was arguing there that he got a genuine attempt for the ball, and I think he did in that occasion. It's a little bit disappointing that a red card might have hampered this second half, might hamper this tie overall, because Rob Dickie, of course, will not be available for the second leg, and that's a little bit disappointing. But again, as I say, the referee doesn't get the replays, and on first look, I thought it was a red card, so I can probably, from that point of view, you could probably argue, well, the referee doesn't get the advantage of getting a replay and having another look at it. But yeah, I'm not a qualified referee, but I can certainly say I didn't think that was a red card after showing the replay, and it looked like a yellow for me. But then we see the disallowed goal for Sheffield United again from that first half, and to clarify, I think the officials did excellently well here. It looked like they were giving a goal right away, fair enough. The ball comes into the box from the long throw in from Jack Robinson. It's flicked on. It's Vinicius Souza that gets, Tyrese Campbell, that gets the header to it. It gets past the keeper, Max O'Leary. But what happens is the Sheffield United player shielded the ball from an offside position in guiding it into the back of the net, not allowing Jason Knight to clear the ball off the line. Therefore, in an offside position, can't interfere with play. He was deemed to have interfered with play, and therefore the goal was disallowed. So it was a very complicated situation, but very cleanly dealt with by the officials. And for Bristol City, you know, they had one or two half chances. Their best chance, I'm just seeing again in the 15th minute, when Joe Williams absolutely rifled the crossbar with his shot from the edge of the box. Nicely held up by Anis Mehmeti, squared it back across, and then the shot, absolute unleashed with a right foot from Joe Williams, arrowing towards the top left corner, and it just crashes off the crossbar and goes away. But that was a close moment for Bristol City, but of course the headline maker will be a red card and a penalty they conceded just before half time. That is Sheffield United leading at the break. And certainly, obviously, Sheffield United, I said, they don't need to win tonight. A win isn't, obviously they wouldn't deny themselves a win, but they wouldn't be the be-all and end-all if they come away with a draw or even a narrow defeat here tonight. They would know they've got the home leg in 3-4 days' time that they could come back from. But having that half-time lead, they'll certainly want to take as much of advantage of their man advantage they have for the second half, of course, the extra man on the field, and try and add to this lead and maybe make it a little bit academic. Of course, it's never fully academic, it's never fully over, but what I would say for Sheffield United would be try and take advantage, because of course we talked about in that first half how cruel the playoffs have been to Sheffield United previously, and how cruel they can be to them again. And ultimately, a little bit of luck, a little slice of luck before half-time, getting that penalty and a red card, going both in their favour, and with a 1-goal lead and a man advantage in the away leg of the semi-final. Take every kind of advantage you can and use it to your advantage, basically, and try and give yourself as much of a lead to take into that home leg as possible, of course. And we'll see what way that one turns out. I did mention in that first half, I did witness 2 0-0 draws in the first legs of the semi-finals last year. West Brom and Norwich, or West Brom and Southampton, and Norwich and Leeds, both games ended 0-0 in the first legs of those games. That was an awful day of football. I watched football for nearly 4.25 hours that day. Back to back they were, the games. And I saw no goals after 180 minutes of football. Obviously the return legs saw 4 goals apiece in both games, but my goodness, very, very different. I gotta say, very, very different on that front this season. And I expect to see goals in both games. A reminder for you that the second semi-final first leg for you of the Championship Playoffs is tomorrow night. Coventry hosting Sunderland as fifth host fourth in terms of their finishes in the Championship this season. That's tomorrow, 8 o'clock on LFS. And then, of course, as you saw there, the return legs of these semi-finals are on Monday and Tuesday night. Sheffield United will host Bristol City in their return leg on Monday night, and Sunderland will host Coventry in the return leg of their semi-final on Tuesday night. And, of course, as you can see on our graphic here, at the playoff final, Saturday the 24th of May, to see which of those two teams will get there, but which team will win that Championship Playoff final and get themselves a place in the Premier League next season. We will await and see. We don't know the kick-off time for that one, but we're expecting around 3 o'clock, but we're not guaranteed. We're set for 3 massive Saturdays in a row. The FA Cup final on the 17th, the 24th, the playoff final, and then the 31st, the Champions League final. So 3 big final Saturdays over this May, and a lot more action to come this May on LFS, because we have so much football to bring you up between now and the end of the season, and we cannot wait to bring it to you here on LFS. And do hope you can join us in a couple of minutes for the second half between Bristol City and Sheffield United. It's 1-0 to the Blades at the moment, and Bristol City down to 10. What will the score be? That was a bit premature. What will the score be come full time? That was what I was meant to say before that. Join us for the second half in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Championship Playoffs Live. A reminder for you is that graphic on the screen that I have started a new position as a journalist at the new independent Liverpool content channel, Red Rondo TV. Go and follow us on all social medias and YouTube as well, as we will have so much content for Liverpool fans over the summer and next number of seasons. That will be great to get involved in. If you're a Liverpool fan or just want to hear about Liverpool, you don't have to be a Liverpool fan. If you want to hear about Liverpool, do join us over there on Red Rondo TV. Second half at Ashton Gate on the way next. Right, welcome back. Second half here at Ashton Gate on the way in just a moment. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. We're well on the road to 27,000 subscribers now, and we're almost halfway through 26,000 so far. So thank you very much everybody for joining us this evening and for subscribing and following the channel wherever you may do that from. That'd be a good idea actually. If anybody wants to put in where they're watching us from this evening, do get involved in the chat. Do let us know. It's nice to hear. As there's a double change for Bristol City at half-time, Roberts and Armstrong have replaced Hirakawa and Naki Wells. So a double substitution for Liam Manning, who's already had to make a 4-sub with an injury to Joe Williams in the first half. And they've made another double sub at half-time. So Sinclair Armstrong and Hayden Roberts have replaced Yu Hirakawa and Naki Wells in that first half. And of course, Rob Dickey was dismissed for Bristol City in that first half, and Harrison Burrows scoring the penalty that resulted from that red card challenge. And therefore, that's where we stand at this moment in time in this playoff semi-final first leg, as the second half gets underway. As I say, Sheffield United will want to use this man advantage and try and get themselves further ahead and try and use it as much as they possibly can to give themselves as many goals, as great an opportunity of heading through to the Wembley final on the 24th of May as they possibly can. Reminder for you, we have the European games currently. We're keeping an eye on those for you. Bodo Glimt against Spurs is goalless. Tottenham a 3-1 lead from the first leg, so they've got the advantage at the moment. It's still 1-0 to Athletic Club against Man United at Old Trafford, but United with a 3-goal lead from the first leg, so Athletic Club need to win by at least 3 goals tonight to progress. In the Conference League semi-final second legs, Chelsea 1 up against Der Jargon at Stamford Bridge. They are leading 5-1 on aggregate, and it's still Fiorentina 2, Real Betis 1 in the other semi-final there, and that's 3-3 on aggregate. So that one, as it stands, will be heading to extra time. But a whole second half to come in all of those games, and a big second half to come here at Ashton Gate, because if Bristol City can keep themselves in this tie heading into the game at Bramall Lane next week, they really do have game on. But another goal for Sheffield United might give them a little bit more breathing room. That ball's fed wide, and Brewster's kept it in, and it fed back across, but scampered away by Bristol City, and they just can't get it and hold it up. So they felt there was a foul there on Sinclair Armstrong, but referee says no. It's a ball fed down the right there for Chowdhury, who left it. It was Anis Mehmeti that got the touch. Will be a Sheffield United throw down this right side. Jack Robinson over there to take this long throw. Saw a lot of those long throws from Thomas Partey last night for Arsenal in the Champions League semi-finals. Jack Robinson with another threatening long throw. Headed clear of the box, and Gus Harmer will hit one from the edge. But that one skied into the Sheffield United fans behind that goal. Yeah, long throw was cleared away well by McCrory, and then kept alive by Chowdhury, squared it across to Harmer. And Harmer's effort well over the bar. O'Leary will take his time for this. Excuse me, for his goal kick. Chris Wilder still giving tactical instructions to his players from the sidelines. Of course, not everything went their way in the final few weeks of the league campaign. For Sheffield United, of course, a couple of missed opportunities. They were well on course heading into the final few weeks of the season for a real automatic promotion push, and it was kind of 3 teams trying to squeeze into 2 places at the top of the table. It was a 3-way tie, a 3-way battle for the top 2 positions, and then Sheffield United were the team that fell away. Just weren't able to sustain the momentum. And of course that defeat away at Burnley that night confirmed it on Easter Monday, that Leeds and Burnley were being promoted. And that was at the end of the Sheffield United automatic promotion story. From that night on, they knew this was going to be their route back to the Premier League. If there was going to be one, they would need to win in the playoffs. And as we've already spoken about, it's not something Sheffield United, certainly recently, know how to do. Since 2019, Sheffield United, they've been a bit more of that yo-yo type of a club. They've been promoted twice and relegated twice in the last 5 years. Promoted to the Premier League in 2019, relegated in 2021, then promoted back again in 23 and relegated 24. And of course want to promote themselves this season once again in 2025 back to the Premier League. Of course, they had one of the worst seasons on record in the Premier League last year at Sheffield United, finishing rock bottom of the table. No doubt about that. Rock bottom of the table, well out of any sort of competition in that sense. Just maybe weren't ready for it last season. Maybe it was just one of those ones where they just couldn't hack it, basically. As I say, they finished rock bottom, 20th place in the Premier League last season. 3 wins all season, 28 defeats, conceded 104 goals. That was the record. Most, no side had ever conceded more than 100 goals in the Premier League in its history. A minus 69 goal difference. And 16 points. Only 5 points more than the Premier League lowest ever points tally record, which of course Southampton are trying to get their name into. Derby County, of course, of 2008 has that lowest record. So if Sheffield United get back up, they want to show much more of a fighting display than they did the last time they were in the Premier League, and certainly they were had half the points that 17th place did in the end, so they were nowhere near safety in the end. Sheffield United absolutely nowhere near it, but that will be a concern. Gotta say, Bristol City so far in the first 7 and 8 minutes of this second half, holding on pretty well. Not under the cosh quite significantly. They are competing here at the moment. That ball out from the back, trying to find Sinclair Armstrong. Just goes a little bit wayward and goes out for the Sheffield United throw. Well, Bristol City, certainly one of the longest serving championship sides as of recently. This is, of course, their 10th season in a row in the championship, since, of course, being promoted back to the championship from League One in the 14-15 season, when they won League One that year. They've been in the Championship for the last 10 seasons in a row. They never really go anywhere, do they? You gotta say, for Bristol City. And their highest finish in that run in recent years. Trying to get it out for you. Was an 8th place finish back in 18-19 season. They finished 8th that season, so they've not reached the playoffs since. Of course, as I said, their last playoffs visit Bristol City was quite a long time ago in 2008 when they finished 4th that season. Kiefer Moore trying to get in towards the box. Couldn't quite find anybody in Sheffield United colours as Earthy comes away with the ball for Bristol City. Still in his own final third as O'Leary has to go long. Sinclair Armstrong holds it up and he's going to get the foul there off Jack Robinson. And a free kick going Bristol City's way. Well, 6th place, 17 wins, 17 draws, just 12 defeats for Bristol City this season, so many's a draw. Not as many defeats as those around them. Only 2 more defeats than Sheffield United had over the season. The same number as Sunderland, and 5 less than Coventry had. And the 3 sides that are in the playoffs with them. So that, again, a little bit wasteful from Sheffield United in possession there, as Chris Wilder tells them to calm down. And so far in these first 11 minutes of this second half, they're snatching at it a little bit, Sheffield United. Had a little more of the ball, 2 shots, nothing of real great concern for Bristol City and their defenders. And their team as a whole, really, down to 10, but nothing of real great concern for them in this second half. Excuse me. Apologies for that. Whacking the mic. Max O'Leary there to take this long kick for Bristol City. Up and won by Robinson. One well there by Earthy, and Knight brings it down for Bristol City. So that ball comes back wide to George Earthy. To Tanner. Now, Viner, who's right in the middle of that back 3, where Rob Dickey was before he was shown red. As Sinclair Thomas chests this one down for an awkward clearance by by Sheffield United. And Armstrong does well, finds it off to Viner, out wide to McCrory. This could be a good move for Bristol City. McCrory, his ball half cleared away by Robinson, brought down by Earthy. Reverse ball, little force by Jason Knight. And nicely won back by Bird, who was brought down Harrison Burrows in the process. Free kick to Sheffield United. Yeah, there was a glimpse there for Bristol City, a little bit of positivity after kind of the real hard to take end to that first half, but showing some fight in the second half so far, not willing to give up just yet. As I say, they're going to have to show some immense amount of character in this second half to progress. Certainly to keep themselves in the battle heading into the second leg. City Peck trying to break into the box. Couldn't really make much of it. Did again. Nice ball through the lines. And Peck trying to break towards the box. Had the shot, but very well wide. Nowhere threatening Max O'Leary in the Bristol City goal. Here's Burrows. Down the left side for Hammer. Nice little spin from Hammer. Cross to Ahmedodzic. Linking up with Brewster. Finds Chowdhury. Back inside to Ryan Brewster. Souza. Lays it off to Campbell. Nice little move. Here's Kiefer Moore. And now City Peck with a shot just wide. That was much more fluid from Sheffield United. Nice combination, nice passing, lovely moves in between the lines. And in the end, it was Brewster that rolled it back for Peck. And City Peck's effort just goes wide of the left post. Much better from Sheffield United. Much more like it. And as we hit the hour mark, it is still, they lead by a 1-0 and a man advantage. And City Peck, who had an earlier shot well off target, that one there was much, much closer. And probably should have been the second Sheffield United goal, if I'm being totally honest. They just need to find their rhythm, Sheffield United. We have a goal to tell you about in Bodo, I believe it is. Is it Glimt or Bodo? Whatever you call that place. Bodo it is, in Norway. And it is 1-0 to Tottenham, we believe. Tottenham have taken the lead on the night, which gives them a 3-goal advantage on aggregate for Tottenham. So it looks like they're heading to a major European final, Spurs. Dominic Solanke, they were last in a European final in 2019, Spurs. They lost to Liverpool in the Champions League final. They might be heading back to a European final this season. Here's Burrows. Cross, cleared away. And Sheffield United get the throw down the left side. I think they're going to make a change before they take this throw. They're not, actually. Player's not ready, so Harrison Burrows will just throw it in. Back to Jack Robinson. Burrows. Now, Anel Ahmedodzic. Trying to keep the Bristol City players moving and shifting. Trying to find those spaces, Sheffield United. Ryan Brewster goes for the early cross. That one was closer to the fans than it was to anybody in the box there for Sheffield United. Never going to threaten the defence there. Well, as I mentioned about Sheffield United's poor form in the playoffs, it is like a curse for the Blades. This is their 6th time they've been competing in the playoffs in the 2nd tier of English football. There's a yellow card coming out for City Peck. I'll get back to that stat in a moment. We'll see this again. It was City Peck a little bit late there on Jason Knight. And yeah, it is a yellow card for City Peck. And that gets him a yellow. He's been very heavily involved in the second half. City Peck for Sheffield United. As Bristol City get a free kick. It was about around about the halfway line. Now we're back with Viner. Through the Bird. Mehmeti. Has to come back the way though. Well, as I was saying, Sheffield United will be competing in the playoffs in the 2nd tier for the 6th time. They failed to earn promotion on each of the previous 5 occasions they've appeared in the playoffs. And in that time, they've won just 1 of their 5 away semi-final matches, drawing 3 and losing 1. Though it did come in their last such match. They won 2-1 away over Nottingham Forest at the City Ground in May 2022. But they were eliminated that night on penalties, of course. Lost the first leg 2-1, won the second leg 2-1, and went to penalties and lost Sheffield United on that occasion. So they do feel, and probably you would feel after 5 chances and not getting promoted in any of the previous 5, including losing 3 playoff finals. I mean, you really would at that point feel that there is a curse against you when it comes to the playoffs. I remember Leeds had that little curse. Leeds felt they had a curse against them in the playoffs. Probably still feel they do, obviously, and that's probably why they fear them so much. To Leeds United, Sheffield United, probably one and the same on that front. As George Earthy tries to make himself known to Gus Hammer, and Bird kind of bundles Hammer over, which gets Sheffield United the free kick. Looks like there is some movement from the Sheffield United bench. Quite a few players getting themselves ready. Looks like there's 3 players getting themselves ready for introduction here for Chris Wilder's team. The first is going to see Tyrese Campbell coming off. And it's going to be Callum O'Hare that's coming on for him. The second substitution is going to see Sidney Peck replaced by Tom Davis. And the third substitution is going to see Andre Brooks come onto the field, and he's going to replace Ryan Brewster. So the triple change then for Sheffield United is seeing Tyrese Campbell, Ryan Brewster and Sidney Peck all replaced here this evening by Tom Davies, Andre Brooks and Callum O'Hare. So a triple substitution there for Sheffield United. Some fresh legs on the field to try and find them a second goal on the night. Try and give themselves a little more of an advantage to take back to Bramall Lane. For the return leg, they have a free kick here, which Callum O'Hare thinks over it. It's Harrison Burrows, sorry, takes the free kick. Deep into the box, but there was a foul against a Bristol City player. Free kick to Bristol City. Quick look around elsewhere. It's another goal for Tottenham. They're now 2-0 up on the night in Bodo against Bodo Glimt. Pedro Porro with the second goal. So it looks like Spurs are heading to that European final. And maybe their trophy drought, as Ange Postecoglou so boisterously claimed earlier in the season. He always wins the trophy in his second season. Well, the Europa League is his last hope. And it looks like they're going to be heading to that Europa League final in Bilbao in a few weeks' time. They're 2-0 up. That's 5-1 on aggregate for Spurs. They are all but there with less than 20 minutes to go. For Manchester United, they may still be 2 goals up overall, but they're 1-0 down on the night. As here comes Earthy for Bristol City. Trying to give them something to hope for here for Bristol City. Bird recycles it wide, finding Earthy again. Not much space there. Down the right side here for Bristol City. Here's George Tanner though. Surrounded by players in white shirts. And gets the throw in. As we do have a goal at Old Trafford. The slight nerves of Manchester United might just be settling now. The man who gave them the lead against Brentford at the weekend has got them back on terms against Athletic Club tonight. Mason Mount has got Man United an equaliser, which should carry them through to Bilbao for the final. And it would be, it's 4-1 now to Manchester United on aggregate. So it looks like it's an all-English Europa League final that we're going to be witnessing in a few weeks' time. Got to double check when that Europa League final is for you. We will have it live here on LFS that night. I do believe it's during the week, if it's not the 21st of May, I believe. It is. In San Mamés in Bilbao, Wednesday the 21st of May. So that will be just over 2 weeks away, or just under 2 weeks away. 13 days away until that Europa League final. It looks like it's going to be Ruben Amorim against Ange Postecoglou. Man United against Spurs in that one. That'll be some Europa League semi-final, or Europa League final. That will be. Looks like it will be 3 English sides in these 2 European finals. Looks like Chelsea's cruising their way through as well to the Conference League final. They don't know who they're going to be playing yet. Fiorentina 2, Real Betis 1. So that's level on aggregate heading into the final 15-20 minutes or so there in Florence. So Chelsea's supposed opponents are still no clearer to being found. As, here comes Sheffield United. O'Hare, Brooks, Davis, the 3 substitutes linking up. O'Hare back to Tom Davis, who shrugs off a challenge. Davis trying to force it through. But the through ball rolls its way through to Max O'Leary and past Callum O'Hare. As they've found one of the Sheffield United players, Ollie Arblaster there, watching on from the crowd. Fascinating. Looks like Bristol City are readying another change here in a moment. Marcus McGuigan is going to be coming on very shortly for Bristol City. Just less than 20 minutes to go. It's not been the most eventful second half here at Ashton Gate. It was a very eventful first half of disallowed goal, a penalty, a red card. It was all happening in the first half. Maybe that sucked out all the action in the first half. And it's certainly a half that will somewhat please the Bristol City fans in the fact that, and the players of course, that they would still be in this tie as it stands. Very much so. With Sheffield United having the man advantage, they're not really making the most of it just yet. There's still time for that to change though. Brooks. Vinicius Souza. Cross now to Robinson and out wide to Burrows. Down the line it comes to Hammer. Trying to reverse it on the underlap to Burrows, who gets the ball across, and it's bobbling around, and it's Andre Brooks! And they've got that second goal, Sheffield United. They'd been so craving, so pushing for, and that Bristol City were denying them. But now they've got that second, and it's come from the substitute, Andre Brooks, arriving at the back post, and he's doubled their lead, and could their horrible history in this competition format for Sheffield United be concluding. So horribly dealt with in the past. But Harrison Burrows with a low ball across the box. It's poorly defended by Bristol City. There's 3 players in there. None of them get any sort of contact on it. O'Hare leaves it. So does Kiefer Moore. And it's waiting for Andre Brooks at the back post, who forces it past Max O'Leary and into the back of the Bristol City net. That is a relief, surely, for Chris Wilder and his side. And they certainly now feel the advantage is definitely theirs. Not only heading to the semi-final second leg, but they might be seeing Wembley in the glimpse of their sights. Bristol City 0, Sheffield United 2, with around about 16 minutes to go. Reminder for you that second leg is on Monday night here at LFS. So the tie isn't done, but it has certainly massively swung even further in Sheffield United's favour. And the away fans loving that and are enjoying themselves now. But Bristol City want a quick response. Earthy down the right side here. It might not just be done yet. Earthy couldn't quite get the ball in. It's whipped in now by Knight. Bouncing around. It's McCrory with a chest. Brought down by Mehmeti. And it's Mehmeti! Straight down the throat of Michael Cooper. And that's their first shot on target of the night for Bristol City. Anis Mehmeti spins away from Vinicius Souza. And the shot from the edge of the box, right down the throat of the Sheffield United keeper, Michael Cooper. that was a chance for Bristol City. They can't afford to be letting chances go by them. And 15 minutes to go of this first leg. Bristol City 0, Sheffield United 2. Bristol City down to 10, of course. Rob Dickie shown a red at the end of the first half. Here's Tom Davis. You can just kind of sense the relief within the Sheffield United camp that that second goal was found. You know, if it had stayed 1-0, it got a little bit nervy. Even if they only took a 1-0 lead to Bramall Lane, of course they would be happy that they were taking a lead, but you'd felt with the opportunity of this second half having the extra man, they would have wanted to take more to Bramall Lane, and now they've got that 2-goal lead at the very least. We'll get to Old Trafford. There's been another goal, but here is a cross from Chowdhury, and the header is wide by Kiefer Moore. Manchester United have scored again. It is a 2-1 lead now for Man United at Old Trafford. It's Casemiro, and it's now 5-1 on aggregate, and it's going to be Man United heading to San Mamés for the Europa League final in 13 days' time. And that will be stuck in the calendar. I mean, fair enough. But what I am saying is Sheffield United have the advantage of this whole half, having to take as much as they can from this game in the away leg of their semi-final, and have the chance to take as much as they can from it from a good Bristol City side. So I'm not at all discounting Bristol City or saying this tie is done, but what I am saying is Sheffield United will believe that if they can take a lead from this game, they will probably believe they can win at home to try and go to Wembley. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying at any stage that this game is done or that it is over, but I would certainly still have to stand by the fact that I would say that it goes without saying a 2-goal lead is a pretty nice advantage to take away from an away leg semi-final. And the point I was making is that if it was only 1-0 to Sheffield United, they would have felt the missed opportunity, having Bristol City been down to 10 men in the second half. Halmer trying to get another ball in. Well, blocked by George Earthy. And as Gus Halmer just gestures to the crowd, Sheffield United fans in that end, ready to take this corner. Halmer, right-footed delivery, round the back, header back across, and it's sweeped in for a third goal. And it's going to be Callum O'Hare, and Sheffield United now might just be seeing Wembley in their sights, because they've got a 3-goal lead to take to Bramall Lane next week, and there's still time remaining in this one. It's Callum O'Hare, and two of the substitutes have really made the impactful difference here for Sheffield United. Brooks with a second goal and O'Hare with a third. It is massively in Sheffield United's favour. Bristol City 0, Sheffield United 3. And Bristol City, they knew how damaging that red card could be. And it might just be bearing fruit for Sheffield United now, that extra man advantage. It's not cleanly dealt with from the corner. They allow it to be headed back across goal. And it's brought down, and it's Callum O'Hare that sweeps it in. Past Max O'Leary. Vinicius Souza was involved as well, but it's Callum O'Hare that has the touch, that finds the back of the net. And Sheffield United have a massive advantage to take back to Bramall Lane. And that was quite superb from Callum O'Hare. "10 minutes to go in this first leg, and it is most certainly advantage Sheffield United. My goodness, for Bristol City, how horrible this is for them. You know, all the belief, all the dreams, all the positivity coming into this one, believing they could try and take something from what in recent weeks has seemed a little bit of a damaged Sheffield United side. But tonight, Sheffield United, maybe by the little help of the red card, but overall they did look the more threatening of the two teams all night, the more likely to find the net. But you've got to say, taking a 3-goal lead coming into tonight probably wouldn't have been on the radar of Chris Wilder. He would have knew his players were capable of it, but he certainly wouldn't have been putting a bet on it, shall we say. Wouldn't have been that confident. But a 3-goal lead, and there could be time for more. This tie really could be done tonight. If Sheffield United don't want to finish there, there's still time for more. And that was a little bit lazy there from Jason Knight. And Liam Manning's hopes and dreams of playoff success with Bristol City might be brought right back down to earth tonight, and quite harshly so. And all down to the difference probably between a yellow and a red card decision. That's how tight it can be sometimes, and sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. And tonight it most certainly hasn't gone the way of Bristol City. And Manchester United have scored a third goal now at Old Trafford. It's 3-1 to Manchester United. It's Rasmus Højlund with the third goal. 6-1 on aggregate for United. There was no real doubts before that third goal that they were heading to Bilbao. And they certainly are now. The Conference League semi-final between Fiorentina and Real Betis is still 2-1. As it stands, that will be heading to extra time. Chelsea, Spurs and Man United will all be heading to their respective finals, but it's still a very incredibly close battle between Fiorentina and Real Betis to see who will be facing Chelsea in that Conference League final in a 2 weeks time or so. Foul there on the Sheffield United defender. It's going to be a free kick here. Rob Holding, by the way, has come on to replace Jack Robinson in the last minute or two, shortly after that third Sheffield United goal. So another change there for Chris Wilder's side. And there's going to be another change or so here for Bristol City. Anis Mehmeti is going to be replaced by Sam Bell. So the man who's got Bristol City's only shot on target of the night, Anis Mehmeti, is replaced here with about 6.5 minutes of this game to go. Rob Holding. Looking for Gus Hammer, but I think might have been offside there, Hammer, as he tried to retrieve the ball. And I think even a little bit early, a couple of those Bristol City fans, some of them wanting to beat the traffic, to beat the full-time rush. As Sheffield United are going to make their fifth and final substitution of the night. Sam McCallum is going to be coming on, and he's going to be replacing Gus Hammer. So Hammer off, and McCallum on here for Sheffield United. We got to say, as I said, it's been really hard on Bristol City tonight, but you know, with all the heartache and pain Sheffield United have felt over the years in the playoffs, they probably felt that surely the luck was going to fall their way at one point, at one stage, and maybe tonight the luck has fallen their way a slight bit more. And maybe, just maybe, they could be on the precipice of a trip to Wembley. And a chance at maybe seeing their way back to the Premier League in a way they've never done it before. But as I say, for Bristol City, whether this is the end of the road in this tie or not, of course we'll talk more about that in the second leg, but you know, what a job they've done, and what a job Liam Manning's done with this side this season to get them even to this point when no one really thought they were going to be capable of it. As there was someone holding a banner there that's been told to take that banner down by the stewards, whatever that was about. We've got a little glimpse of that. I'm not too sure what it was, but it's a late challenge there by Sinclair Armstrong on Sam McCallum. That's going to get Sheffield United another free kick here. Just over 3 minutes of the game to go. Remember, there is a second leg tie, second leg of this tie, so nothing is done or dusted yet. But you got to say, Sheffield United have some advantage, and Bristol City have some comeback needed if they're going to find a way back into this. Around it for you, we've got the other semi-final first leg for you tomorrow night. Coventry taking on Sunderland as fifth hosts fourth in the Championship. And the second playoff semi-final first leg, that's tomorrow, 8 o'clock from the CBS Arena. Frank Lampard's Coventry, of course, taking on a Sunderland side who really fell by the wayside with their form towards the end of the season. Lost 5 in a row. That's not the type of form you want to be heading into the playoffs with. Of course, they'd been confirmed, certainly confirmed playoffs for a while, but their recent form is not one to be kind of enamoured heading towards the playoffs. We'll see how they respond and how they both play out tomorrow night to see what will happen there at the CBS Arena. Man United have scored another goal, fourth goal of the night for Manchester United. They're cruising their way to Bilbao. Mason Mount, with his second of the evening, has Man United's fourth. It's 4-1 to United. Chelsea have won, so they're through to the Conference League final this evening. Still awaiting the winner out of Fiorentina and Real Betis. That one looks like it's going to extra time. But at the moment, we'll wait on the final whistles coming at Old Trafford and in Bodo to see. It will be very likely now, almost certainly, a Man United-Tottenham final in the Europa League. But we wait, of course, on the final whistle for those to be confirmed, so no one gets ahead of themselves. Certainly wouldn't want to do that. Last minute of the 90 then. Here at Ashton Gate as the final whistle goes at Old Trafford. Man United in a European final. San Mamés in Bilbao will be the destination for Manchester United. And they'll be heading to try and win a Europa League. They've won it once before, of course. Let's see if they can do the same again. Here come Sheffield United again. McCallum finds it into the box for O'Hare. He has the shot blocked. Will be another corner to Sheffield United on this left-hand side. As we will now have 3 added minutes at the end of the 90. not much to add on. Corner will come here. They're 5th of the game. Gone short. Brooks, who's already got one tonight, had opened up a shot there. Gives it off to Tom Davis. Whips it back in. Panodzic tried the overhead kick. That might have caught a man in the middle there, which gets Bristol City a free kick. It's a long tick from Max O'Leary here in the final few minutes of this game at Ashton Gate tonight. McCallum just usher that one out for a throw to Sheffield United, away from George Earthy there. Callum takes the long throw down the line. Flicked on by Kiefer Moore. One for O'Hare to chase, but should be dealt with, and is, by Bristol City as O'Leary gets rid. Headed on by Vinicius Souza, and climbing over his man there was Kiefer Moore to get to the ball, and George Tanner wins a free kick for Bristol City. Kiefer Moore has come off the worst of the two in that challenge. I get why he's trying to get for the ball, but he's gone right over the top of him there. And Tanner was the one that was caught. So free kick to Bristol City with around about 30 seconds to go of this semi-final first leg. Reminder for you, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That'd be greatly appreciated. And we'll be back tomorrow night, of course, for the first leg of the other semi-final between Coventry and Sunderland in that one. As here come Bristol City, might want to get a late goal, but the ball is right at the goalkeeper, and I think the flag was up anyway. It was. As there's the final whistle. The end of the first of 2 sets of 90 minutes in this semi-final between Bristol City and Sheffield United, and it is the visitors on the night that have some advantage to take back to their home at Bramall Lane. 3 goals, 2 of which scored within the final 15 minutes of this game. Andre Brooks and Callum O'Hare, the 2 substitutes, adding to what was, at that time, a narrow lead for Sheffield United. It looked well within reason that Bristol City were very much still in the tie, but they might not be dead and buried yet, despite conceding 3 goals and losing a man tonight. It was a tough night where nothing really seemed to go right for Bristol City. Losing a man, conceding a penalty before half-time, and just when it looked like they might have been getting close to scraping something out of this with a narrow defeat, 2 late goals from Sheffield United made it much more difficult for them heading to Bramall Lane on Monday night. For Chris Wilder and his side, maybe their curse in the playoffs might be coming to an end, but they will not get ahead of themselves. They've tasted horrible, horrible results before. Chris Wilder certainly first hand. So it's not done yet. But one thing is for sure, they've got as much of an advantage as they ever could have asked for heading to Bramall Lane on Monday night. Final score from this Championship semi-final first leg. It is finished Bristol City 0, Sheffield United 3. And there you are. That is us for tonight. Sheffield United with some advantage to take to Bramall Lane, and you can join us on Monday night to see how this tie ends up and how it returns as Sheffield United, Chris Wilder orchestrating his players there, whatever he's doing with a bit of choreography there with his players, and applauding their fans before they head back in, down the tunnel and into the dressing room. This is a big moment. This is big for Chris Wilder and his team. But they know there's still another half of the job to do on Monday nights. Let's have a look then. And that's our first result so far down. Coventry take on Sunderland tomorrow night in that other first leg. And then the return legs of the semi-finals will see Sheffield United host Bristol City on Monday night and Sunderland take on Coventry on Tuesday night. Before the playoff final will be played on Saturday the 24th of May, of course at Wembley, to see who will get that final place in the Premier League next season. Right. That is it from us tonight. Great to have your company with us this evening as we watch Sheffield United taking a very, in the end, comfortable victory that sees them with some 3-goal advantage to take back to Bramall Lane for Monday night. Thanks for your company. Join us for our next semi-final tomorrow night as Coventry host Sunderland in the CBS Arena. That's tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Join us then. Thanks for your company. Have a great rest of your night and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.